Today is Advanced Java first class, right? Regarding your Advanced Java, we will talk about the first class. Yes, good. Just coming to Advanced Java. Advanced Java basically to build what kind of applications means web applications. Okay. Yes, Advanced Java. The mainly syllabus is what we'll discuss about the Jdbc, Servlets, and JSP, JSTL, and expression language. The Jdbc Servlets, JSP, JSTL, and what expression language, right? What is Jdbc full form? Tell me. The Jdbc full form. The Jdbc full form is what? Java database connectivity. Yeah. So Java Java database what? Connectivity, right? Exactly. Because what a JSP full form here? Java server. Okay, Java server pages we have. And JSTL full form is what? Hmm, Java standard tag language. Exactly. And the expression EL full form is what, guys? This is basically like expression language. Expression language, right? Exactly. Good. It's basically advanced. Advanced means this is the content, guys. JDBC, Servlets, and JSP and JSTL expression language, right? Exactly. And see, guys, we will do the practicals using IDE. So we'll go for the Eclipse ID, Eclipse ID and what? Yeah, Eclipse ID and what? IntelliJ ID. In my system, I have Eclipse and IntelliJ. I will do the practicals using Eclipse and the IntelliJ ID. In advanced, I'll use the tools like I'll use Maven tool, guys, which is like build a tool, and I'll use the Git tool, which is like version control, right? We'll go for the pull and push up, pull the rate, right? Exactly. Uh, because you got the point, right? So tools will go for the Maven tool and what? Maven tool, and what? Git tool we will use, like basically tools, right? Exactly. So advanced means what is syllabus, guys? JDBC, Servlets, JSP, JSON, expression language, and IDs we will use like Eclipse ID and IntelliJ ID, and we'll go for the UI technologies like what the UI technologies. You will see, guys, HTML, CSS, and what? JavaScript process. That's some basics of HTML, CSS, and what? JavaScript, right? HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And we will see databases. What a database we will see as part of this course. MySQL and what Oracle databases we will see, right? Exactly. So advanced Java means JDBC, Servlets, and JSP, JSTL, expression language, and what? Tell me, JSP expression language. UI technologies we will see like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And databases we will see like MySQL and Oracle database, and Eclipse ID and what? NetBeans IntelliJ ID, and tools will select like Maven tool and Git tool, right? Exactly. Because tell me, advanced Java mainly to build what type of applications means? Tell me, guys, advanced Java means to build what kind of applications? Advanced Java use it to build like web applications, guys. Is to build what web applications, right? Exactly. The advanced Java is to build what web applications. So if you talk about web application architecture, web application architecture, web application architecture, because web application contains three-tier architecture. Okay, because web application contains how many types? Tell me. In daily life, every day we are sending the request to the Facebook or Gmail. We are sending request to what? Facebook or Gmail, and multiple websites you are using, right? Which means where we have the client, that's where we have the client, server, and what? Database, right? Exactly. Web application like three-tier architecture, guys. Three-tier architecture means what? We have the client tier, and we have the server tier, and we have the database tier, right? Yes, client, server, and what? Database tier, right? Exactly. Yes, web application follows like three-tier architecture, guys. Follows three-tier architecture. First one is a client tier. Second tier is what? Server tier. Third tier is what? Database tier, right? Client, server, and what? Database, guys. Yes, you got the point, right? Client, server, and what? Database, right? Yes. Coming to the client, server, and database, tell me guys, what is the responsibility of the client? The responsibility of the client means what? Terminal is important, guys. What is the client? Client means what? Who sends the request and what? Who takes the response, right? Guys, client means what? Who sends the request and who takes the response is called client, right? Exactly. Because web application follows what is architecture? Three-tier architecture. Three-tier architecture means what? Client, server, and what? Database tier. Client, server, and database tier means client purpose is what? Who sends the request and holds the response, right? You can see this one small diagram. This is the client, this is called server, this is called database basically. Client means what? Who sends the request and who holds the response, right? I'll share this PPT documents with you, no problem. So client, server, database. In that case, what do you make client, guys? Tell me here, client. Client means what? Who sends the request and who sends the request and takes the response, right? Takes the response. It's called client amount. What are the examples of client? Tell me. So in a publication architecture, what examples of client now? Because how we are sending a request to server? We are sending a request to server using the browser, right? Because using what? Browser, right? Exactly. All are what? Yeah. All browsers are used to send the request to server, right? Yes or no? All browsers are used to send the request to what? Server. So all browsers are examples of clients. Client means maybe you're thinking like we are sending the request, right? We are sending the request means what? We are physically we are sending the request, but technically who will generate the request? Yes, physically we are sending the request, but technically who sends the request? Technically, like technically what? Technically who sends the request? Technically browser will send the request, right? Exactly. Yes, all browsers are what? All browsers are examples of client, right? Exactly. Yes, we got the client. This is the client. And the client side technologies, what are client side technologies we will use? So we decided advanced Java means mainly for what? Because you got the point, right? Advanced Java means used for which application? Web application, right? Web application contains what? Client server and what? Database. Then we need to understand what is the responsibility of the client. What do my client is? Who sends the request and who takes the response is called what? Client, right? This client means what? Who sends the request and who takes the response is called client. And what are the client side technologies? The technologies, the technologies, technologies are used to write the programming at used to write the programming at a client side. The technologies are used to write the programming at a client side are called what? Are called client side technologies, right? Exactly. Yeah, the technologies are used to write the programming at client side or the client side technologies, right? Yeah, tell me guys, what are the client side technologies? Guys, the technologies are used to write the programming at client side. It's called client side technologies. What examples? Tell me. The client side technologies are what? HTML, CSS, and what? JavaScript, right? HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, Angular. These all are what? Client side technologies, right? This is a client, guys. I think you got the clarity about the client, right? Yeah, web application follows like three-tier architecture. Yes, web application follows what the tier. Web application follows like three-tier architecture. Three-tier architecture is client, server, and database. We understood what the responsibility of the client, who sends the request and take the response is called client. And what is a client means what? All browsers are examples of clients. All browsers are examples of clients, right? Yeah. What is the responsibility of server, guys? Now client is done, right? The technologies used to write the programming at the client side. The technologies are used to write the programming at the client side is called client side technologies, right? Exactly. Yes or no? That's a client. I think everyone got the clarity about the client, right? Please respond there. Everyone got the clarity about what is a client, right? Yes. The next one is what we can go with the server. Yes, what is the response to server? We are sending the request, assume like we are doing the Facebook application. Facebook application means what? We are using the Facebook application. In that, you open the browser window, you are sending the request like www.facebook.com. Where the request goes now? The request goes to server, right? The request goes to what? A server. Then what the server contains? What the server is doing? Tell me. Server contains application, right? Server contains the. Tell me, what the server contains? Server contains the application, and the server contains application. Okay. Server takes the request from what? Tell me, guys. Take the request from the client. Take the request from the client. Server takes the request from what? Client, right? Exactly. After taking the request from the client, process the request. Okay. Process the, tell me, process the request. After processing, process request, and next one is what? Render the response back to the client, right? Render the response to client, right? Exactly. Okay, server contains how many parts? Server contains the application. Yes, you got the point, right? The server contains application, accept the request and what? Send the response back to the client, right? Exactly. The response to server. So generally, what are servers? Tell me. Servers are responsibility is what? Servers are what? We have the Tomcat server. Remember, the Tomcat server is given by Apache Software Foundation. Because today class, you need to get the what is a client, what is a server, what is a database, what exactly servlets, what exactly Jdbc, what exactly JSP, that we need to see first. So we understood that Advance means to build what kind of applications? Tell me. Yes, Advance means what kind of applications? Please respond here. Advance means what kind of applications? Web applications, right? Web application follows which architecture? 3D architecture, right? Client, server, and what? Database. What do you make client? Who sends the request and take the response is called client, right? Who sends the request and what takes the response is called client. All browsers of examples of client side. The technologies are used to write the programming at the client side are called client side technologies. So see, advanced Java means in your mind, imagine that web application. Web application is how many types? 3 types: client, server, database. Imagine that one. Guys, you got the point, right? Imagine that one. Web application means what? Client to server, database you have to imagine. Then client means what? Who sends the request and what takes the response is called client. All browsers of examples of clients. The technologies are used to write the programming at the client side are called what? Client side technologies, right? Exactly. Next one is what? Server. Server contains application. Server takes the request. Server contains the process the request. Render the response to the client, right? Exactly. The generals are what are the servers are. In the real time, we have the Tomcat server given by Apache Software Foundation. Apache Software Foundation. Like that, we have the multiple servers. So we have WebLogic server given by. Tell me, guys, who gave WebLogic server? Given by Oracle Corporation. Given by Oracle, and we have the WebSphere server given by IBM. Given by IBM. Okay, and we have the Glassfish server. Glassfish is initially from Sun Microsystems, guys. Initially, it is from Sun Microsystems means now it is from Oracle. Now it is from what? Oracle Corporation, right? Exactly. And we have the JBoss. And previously JBoss from JBoss community, now it is from Red Hat. These are the responsible servers. You got the point, right? Yes, this is the server. This is the server, right? Exactly. So clear now? Yeah, now we can go for the server side technologies. The technologies are given by the technologies are used to write the programming at server side. Servlets, JSP, Spring, .NET, PHP, JSF. These all for so client side technologies, server side technologies. These all are like server side technologies. You got the point, right? These all are which technologies? Server side technologies, right? The technologies are used to write the programming at server side. These are called what? Server side technologies. So you got the point, right? Client side technologies means what? The technologies are used to write the programming at client side technologies. Okay, what are server side technologies? The technologies are used to write the programming at the technologies used to write the programming at what? Server side. It's called server side technologies, right? It's called server side technologies. What are server side technologies? We have the servlets is server side technology. Servlets, JSP, servlets, JSP, Spring, .NET, okay, PHP. These all are like server side technologies, right? Etc. These are server side technologies, right? Yes. Sorry, clear now? Yes. Server side technologies, right? Yes. Now tell me, servlets and JSPs are what type of technologies? Client side or server side technologies? Servlets and JSPs. Guys, servlets and JSP are client side technologies, server side technologies.
Server side.
Servlets and JSP are the server side technologies. Servlets and JSPs are used to write the programming at server side, not client side. Servlets and JSPs are executed what the server side, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Server side technologies. Sir, server side technologies, these two are good to write the programming at server side. Servlets and JSP to write the programming server side. Sir, why is this JDBC? Tell me, why this JDBC then?
To communicate with database.
You know why this JDBC required means my servlets cannot interact with the database directly. Oh, you got the point, right? My servlets cannot interact with the database what directly. My JSP also cannot interact with the database directly. My servlets cannot interact with the database directly. That's what servlets are internally using the JDBC API to connect to the database. So you got the point, right? Servlets are used to write the programming at server side. Servlets are used to write the programming at what? Server side.
Server side.
But servlets can interact with the database?
No, sir.
No. Then what we will use? We will use a JDBC technology.
JDBC or Hibernate.
Hibernate or JDBC. Servlets are internally using the JDBC technology to communicate with the database, right? And that is the purpose of JDBC. Now at least you got the picture, right? Advanced Java purpose is what? To design what kind of applications?
Web application.
Yes, Advanced Java means to design what kind of applications? Web application. Web application follows what is architecture? Three-tier architecture. Three-tier architecture means what? Client, server, database. Client, server, and what? Database, right? What do you make client?
Who sends request and accept the response from server.
Who sends the request and who takes the response is called what? Client, right? What are the client side technologies? The technologies are used to write the programming at client side. Right? Nothing but HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Angular, this all, right?
JSP.
What is server?
Who
Server
takes the
contains the
request from
project. Server contains the project.
or application.
Server contains the project. Server takes the request from the client, process the request, generate the response back to the client. Okay. Then what are the server side technologies? What are the server side technologies?
Program which are written on server side.
The programming at server side. Servlets and JSP, Struts, Spring, these are right. Server side technologies. Okay. So now what are JDBC? Your servlets, server database. Servlets cannot interact with the database. Servlets and JSPs cannot interact with the database directly. That's what servlets and JSP internally using. Servlets and JSP internally using what? Servlets and JSP internally using the JDBC or Hibernate technology to connect with the database, right? Exactly. Because everyone is clear about the points.
Yes.
This is like database. Clients or database. Database used to store the data, right?
Yes.
Use it to store the data. Use it to store the data, right? Examples of databases like Oracle database, Oracle and what? MySQL database, right?
MongoDB.
Exactly. Oracle, MySQL and what? MongoDB database, right? Like etc. I think you got the clarity about what is a client, what is a server, what is a database, right? Yes. Tell me guys, what is the responsibility of the servlets and JSP? Servlets and JSP. Servlets and JSP are the technologies used to
web-based application.
Use it write the programming at what? Programming at client side, server side.
Server side.
Server side, right? Servlets and JSP are the technologies used to write the programming at server side, right? Exactly. Yes, we know that how many parts of Java we have? How many parts of Java?
Two.
J2SE, J2E, and J2ME.
Those are the parts, right?
Yes.
We know that CoreJava and Advanced Java is official terms or
unofficial?
Unofficial.
Official terms. Like parts of Java. Now coming to the parts of Java, CoreJava and Advanced Java is like official terms or unofficial terms?
No.
Unofficial terms, right? CoreJava and Advanced Java is unofficial terms. As per the Sun Microsystems standards, these are developers of Java, right? As per the Sun Microsystems standards, the Java divided into how many parts? 3 parts. What are the 3 parts, Karmi?
J2SC, J2E, J2E.
J2SC, J2E, J2ME. In Advanced Java, what we are discussing first point, JDBC is there, something like connection purpose.
Part of CoreJava.
It's like part of JTSC only. JDBC is a part of JTSC only, CoreJava only. That's what Advanced Java means, mainly servlets, not JDBC. First, we need to start with the servlets actually. Do you agree or not? If servlets, see, Advanced Java means web applications. Web applications means we need to write the coding at server side, right? You are at server side, right? Yes or no? Server side. Then server side, when you write the code, then you want to store the result in the database. In that case, my servlets are using internally JDBC technology to connect the database. But Advanced Java web applications means what? Mainly JDBC servlets. Advanced Java means mainly servlets are JSP now. Servlets.
Yes, sir. JSP.
Mainly servlets and JSP are the main,
Yes.
but servlets are internally using what? JDBC tech code to connect to the database, right?
Yes.
We understood that JDBC belongs to which part?
J2SC.
JDSC part. There's a clarity important, guys. In prepared classes, Advanced Java first class means what they'll explain. They'll explain again core Java concepts. I think no one will get in a demo class. Maybe you attend some other demo class Advanced Java. I think in the first class, do you get this much knowledge? What is the purpose of Advanced Java? To design web applications. Web application, what is architecture? 3-tier architecture. What is the responsibility of the client? What is the responsibility of the server? In the daily life, we are using the Facebook, right?
Yes.
We are sending the request using browser window. Then your browser is the client. Then this request goes to Gmail server or Facebook server. They will take your data, they will process the data, they will generate a response back to client, right? Got the point, right?
Yes.
We generate response back to the client. Database is used to store the data. So because Facebook internally using the data, their own databases, because Facebook, they has to store our details, right?
Yes.
They store the data, right? That's the point. So you got the idea about what is a client responsibility and what is a client. All the browsers are examples of clients, because every browser we are sending the request, right?
Yes.
How we are sending the request? We are sending the request. We are sending request, but technically who is sending?
Browser.
Right? Technically browser. Response the server, right? Server contains the application. Server takes the request, to process the request, render the response back to the client. They are servers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And we understood that database used to store the data. That's it. Servlets and JSP are the technologies used to write the programming at client side, server side. Server side. So our Advanced Java means web application. Web applications means our target is server. Is correct or not?
Correct.
So and whatever servlets are directly servlets does not connect the database directly. So servlets does not connect with what? Does not connect with
Database directly.
Database directly.
Requires JDBC.
So it uses servlets uses JDBC API to connect with the database, right? Now you got the clarity. Yes or no? Yeah. Servlets does not connect the database directly, so servlets are used to JDBC API to connect to the database directly, right? Exactly. Are you clear now?
Yes.
How many parts are
Yes.
Java total? There are 3 parts, right? What are the 3 parts? JDSC, Jdbc, JTME. Your JDBC belongs to which part? JDSC. Exactly. So JDBC is a core Java point, all about the core Java. JWE means what? Servlets, comma, JSP, JSTL, and EJB, Enterprise Java, and JPA, Java Persistence API, and XML, web services. These all are JWE concepts. So we understood that advanced Java means you are taking the JDSC, JDBC classes, and JWE servlets on JSP and JSTL classes. You got the point, right? That clarity important. Just tell me, advanced Java means what we are taking? Advanced Java means JDBC classes, JTSC, JDBC classes, JWE, servlets, JSP, and what? JSTL classes.
JB and JPA we are not taking.
Sorry?
EJB and JPA we are not taking.
No, that is a different task. So EJB is not required. It's outdated concept. Is all.
Okay.
In place of EJB, we have the Spring framework.
Okay.
In place of EJB, we have the Spring framework. So we can take the servlets on JSP and JST, right? Exactly. So JDME for the micro edition to design mobile applications is not part of our syllabus. Then we need to think about the JDBC, servlets and JSP and what? JSTL, right? JSTL and what? Expression language. Okay, good. And we need to get one more simple. Yeah, that's fine. So we got the clarity. Servlets and JSPs are right. The programming at client side or server side.
Server side.
Server side, right? Servlets and JSP use technologies are used. These are the technologies, right?
Yes, sir.
So the technologies
These
of
frameworks are
frameworks.
developed.
The servlets and JSP, the technologies of frameworks, sir.
These are technologies, sir.
Technology, sir.
After the servlets, we'll take the Spring, right? Spring is a framework. Spring is what? A framework, right? Exactly.
For JDBC, Hibernate is.
JDBC is also technology, but Hibernate is a framework.
Yes.
Hibernate is what? A framework.
For Servlet is Struct and for JSP.
So we in advanced Java class means you think about the JDBC, servlets and JSP and the JSTL and expression language, right?
Yes.
So now you got the clarity. What exactly JTSC? What exactly JWE? What exactly advanced Java, right? Exactly.
Sir, what about J2ME, sir?
There is a mobile applications to design the mobile circuit designs, micro edition, to handle the microcontrollers. It's a different API.
It is not part of our syllabus, sir.
No. Advanced Java means you will see right the syllabus, right? Advanced Java means
Yeah,
for the JDBC, servlets and JSP and JSTL expression language. These are the required things, and the remaining other outdated things. Okay.
Okay.
After this advanced Java, then we can start with what? Spring classes.
Yes.
That is the data actually. You got the point, right? So using the servlets and JSP, we will build one application. One application will build. Using above all the tools, we will build one project. Using above all tools, we will build one application. Okay, one project we will build using this all the tools. That the project contains these all the JDBC, servlets and JSP, JSTL expression language. All has to be included. HTML, CSS has to be included. Database has to be included, and Maven has to be included. Git has to be included. And IntelliJ also, Eclipse IDE also included. By using above all the tools, by using above all, we will build one application. See, if it is a small project or big project, guys, but in front of you, you have to design the even 4-5 pages application also. If you build application in front of you using this all the technologies, so that you'll get the clarity, right? Or explaining the existing project is recommended. Which one is recommended?
Building the project
project,
is recommended.
Even if it is a small code, small application also, if you build application in front of it, it will be very good, right? Instead of copying somewhere and we need to execute the code and all. I will build application in front of you. So that application, including all the JDBC topics, servlets and JSP, JSTL expression language, all should be included. HTML, CSS has to be included. One database has to be included. One ID has to be included, and Maven tool has to be included for the build tool. Maven will use and Git will use. Yes. So what we will start the server side coding, right? Server side coding means we'll start the servlets concept. Servlets are used to advanced Java means web application. Web application means in your mind, this is the structure we have to remember. Yes, sir. No, this is called what? A web application. web application architecture, right? So in your mind, you need to immediately remember that this is a web application architecture in your mind. So clear now?
You taught like 3 layers where there's a presentation layer, one
Actually, these three.
and
This
perception and
three-tier
processing.
architecture. This is a three-tier architecture, right?
Yes.
This is a three-tier architecture. Nothing but 3 layers. Okay, 3 layers. This is a web application architecture. These are basically like 3 layers.
Business or presentation layer is client.
Web application architecture contains 3 layers actually. What do you make client? Client means what? Examples of clients are what? All browsers, right? All browsers are examples of clients. All browsers, right? Yes. Examples of client means what? All browsers are examples of clients, right? Yes. You got the point, right? All browsers are examples of clients, sir. What about server? Server list is there, no? What are servers? We have a list. These are the frequent user servers.
Truncated web logic, web sphere
Yeah,
class.
these are the frequent user servers. Yeah, for the first server here, you use the Tomcat server. Attach Tomcat. Tomcat server, right? Next one is what? WebLogic server. Who given the WebLogic server?
Sorry, Oracle.
Oracle, right? Yeah. Logic is given by
Web
Oracle, right? Exactly. This is given by. I will share this PPT with you so that you get the clarity. Meanwhile, you can take one snap for this diagrammatic form after completion of this all. Okay. Next one is what? WebSphere server. WebSphere is given by IBM. So WebSphere from the IBM. So Tomcat and WebSphere is from the IBM, right? Yeah. And we have next one is what? Glassfish. Glassfish initially from Sun Microsystem. Now it is from initially it is from Sun Microsystem. Now it is taken Oracle, right? Now it is from Oracle Corporation. Yeah. Last one is what? JBoss. JBoss from Red Hat, right? Yes. So these are the examples of servers basically. Any questions? This is Sun Microsystem, IBM. This is Oracle Corporation, right? So Tomcat, WebLogic, and this is called what? WebSphere. WebSphere. And we have the Glassfish and we have the JBoss, right? We have the JBoss server. Yes. Yeah. Any questions? And just you can make this data like this. These are the servers, right? Yes. Good. What are the last one is the database, right? What are databases we have? Generally, you can go for the MySQL and what Oracle databases, right? Yeah. Web application means this is architecture. Oracle database we have, and MySQL database, right? Yeah. In general, just let me make these two databases as of now. Oracle and what MySQL databases. It's an example of database, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Sir, MongoDB we are not going to study, no?
We will see. Yeah. Good. This is called web application architecture, guys. Web application contains what? Client. All browsers are examples of client. This is called server. These are the servers basically. Database means what is a database. So Servlets purpose is what? Servlets are to write the programming at the client side, server side. Servlets are used at the programming at server side. So web application means server side, right? So think like we are designing web application. Web application means we are writing the backend code. Server side coding we are writing. Okay. My server side coding can interact with database directly? No. That's what my server can interact with what database.
Using DDV.
So my server can work with what?
Communicate.
Yeah, my server can use like JDBC, servlets can use what JDBC technology to connect the database, right? Exactly. Huh? So when we meet in tomorrow class, what we will do? We'll make the servlets. We'll make what servlets. So we will write what first point, right? Like the introduction about the servlets, right? Exactly. You got the point, right? Yes. And this web application follows architecture is what? Three-tier architecture. Said like client server database, right? Web application follows what? Web application follows layers, three layers. Web application contains three layers, right? Web application contains what? Three layers actually. What are three layers? Tell me.
Business or
That's web application means client to server and database. That's it. Client to server database means how many layers are there? Three layers are there. One is a client layer, server layer, database layer. Client layer means generally what we can say.
business or presentation layer.
Tell me, client layer means
Presentation layer.
it's all about the presentation layer, right?
Accept response.
Exactly. This is called what? Presentation layer. Okay.
Business layer.
Presentation layer, what we will use? Presentation layer means what we will use?
Yes.
HTML, CSS, JavaScript, is all we will use. Second one is what? Server layer. Server layer is nothing but what? Business layer, right? Business layer. Presentation layer, business layer. Business layer means what? The main business logic. Business layer we can call it as otherwise a processing layer. Clear, guys? Processing layer or business layer. Here what we'll use? Which technology?
Servlet JSP.
Servlets and JSP, right? The third layer,
Database.
Persistence layer.
Persistence layer.
instead of saying the database layer, we need to say like persistence layer. Should I tell me here? Persistence layer. The technical word is what? Persistence layer. Persistence layer means what? The logics are interacting with the database is called persistence logics. Guys, business logics means what? Servlets you are using. Business logics means what? Main logics, right? Main processing logics are business logics, right?
Yes.
So web application means in your mind think that client server database, then how many layers are there? Three layers. One is the presentation layer, second one is what? Business layer, third one is what? Persistence layer. Third one is what? Persistence layer, right? Persistence layer, what we will use? JDBC. That is a web application. Web application follows what? Three layers, right? These are the three layers basically. Is it clear now?
Yes.
Yes, every day I will share these notes. I will share these notes. You take the notes on what? You write the notes clearly by day by day. You got the point, right? Every day I'll share the notes. And to get the required sessions about this class, and the guys who already paid fees, you'll get the required session by default, no problem. The guys who are new to this class, try to complete the fee payment by tomorrow, so that they will send you the required Google Drive access, which contains like materials, interview questions, and that drive like so what required session, right? Required session. And as of now, servlets in the file I'm sharing now to write the notes. Servlets 7 p.m. We will start with the server side coding first. When we start with server side coding, then you can go for the servlets 7 p.m. This is a today's day one notes. Whatever the day one notes I written, just I'm placing here. Okay. You try to open this link once, everyone, so that you get the today class notes. You try to take one new book and you try to add these complete notes in that book. Get the point, right? When you open that link, it's asking password. The password for that link is Java. JAVA is a password. What is the password for that link? Java, right? JAVA is a password. You got the point, right? Yes. Any questions?
Sir, once want to talk.
Hey, Ratan.
Tell me.
Sir, want to talk personally, sir. over the call, sir. When you are free, sir.
What, Ranjan?
Sir, once I want to have a word with you, sir.
Tell me.
Not now, sir. Personal, sir.
Oh, you want to talk personally? You have my number, right?
Yes, sir.
You can call me after some time.
Hey Ratan, I'm okay. Just for the what is the password for this advanced Java?
JAVA is the password.
For advanced Java also.
For that also advanced Java. JAVA is the password.
I mean JDBC.
For that.
Okay.
Previously applied.
Yeah. So what about the? I didn't get any Google Drive for these videos and for JDBC and all those things, material and all those things.
Just you can call to off. You paid already fees, right? I think, Rakesh.
Yeah, I paid the fees. No, they are not responding. I mean, see, how can they miss that email and all this? They are not responding, Ratan, properly.
You already old, right?
No, I didn't get any Google Drive.
Then you drop your mail ID once. I'll give the access now. Yeah. Any other questions?
Today, everyone.
I want to pay the fee for this course,
Okay.
but I didn't get any information like account details and all. To whom I have to connect because admin people are not responding properly.
What can you hear me?
No, I need to pay the fee for this course.
Okay.
I need the details. To whom I have to contact. Do means whether you are having any other particular site or.
You'll get the mail. So you got the details. You enter the details, right?
Still, I didn't get. I'm waiting for that. Means any other particular email ID of your institute or else admin number.
Yeah, Ambika, today you enter the mail ID, right? So to that mail ID, you get the details. Okay. Just you can check the details. If you still will not get, tomorrow I will send you the details for that. Okay.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Good. Any other questions, please? Yeah, you write the notes. Tashir, you will not teach JDBC. Yeah, definitely will teach JDBC. Why you will not teach JDBC? First, we'll write the coding at server side. Once the server side coding is done, then we'll write the JDBC also.
Hello. Hello.
Tell me here.
Yeah, sir. Actually, every day we need to take a notes from your side. Your side, right?
I'll share you the material, and meanwhile, you can take the class notes from here.
Okay, then okay. It's how we can take the materials.
Once you paid the fees, they'll send the Google Drive access. The drive already contains the material. Okay.
It's through PDF, right?
PDF document. Complete.
Oh, okay, then okay. Thank you.
You enter the today mail ID, right? So that you'll get the follow-up mail regarding fee payment. If you complete the fee payment, they'll say the Google Drive access, which contains the today class recording and the materials also.
How many classes will be allowed like this?
It's like 2 months classes.
No, I'm asking how many classes has to be allowing like this?
Tomorrow, today and tomorrow.
Today and tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
We need to pay tomorrow at the end of the day, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So, Ratan, I added the mail here.
Yeah, Rakesh, I'll check once. I'll send you the details.
Okay.
Can you share the syllabus PDF?
This is a syllabus copy. Fine. JDBC, Servlets and JSP, JSP expression language. This is syllabus copy what I written here. Okay. So JDBC contains corresponding details. Servlets contains details. So JSP, JSP inside. Okay. So Advanced Java is not like not like CoreJava. We have the topic by topic like that. Advanced Java, these are the topics that we have. And that material contains that JDBC, what are the topics we'll cover, that JDBC contains individual topics. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions? Good. Yeah, that's all for today class, guys. We'll meet in tomorrow class. So today we understood that what is a web application. How many layers in your application, what exactly Servlets and JSP, what exactly JDBC and all. So tomorrow we will start the backend coding. Backend means server side coding. We will write the coding at server side, servlets. Okay, we'll write the coding at server side using what? Servlets, right? Bye. Tomorrow we'll make this. Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Tell me here.
Hello. Sir, some IDs are given from you. That is Eclipse and MySQL.
Okay. This ID is on that is ID. I will install. I will later.
So there is a link from the Google Drive for software.
They have the Google Drive. In that drive we have the links. Based on that links you can download the IDs, corresponding IDs.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So
will help you. You try to do it. If not possible, I help you to install those softwares. Okay.
okay. So which Java version are used for that?
Java 17 version.
17. Okay.
Bye.